dream destinations, exceptional cruises, polar adventures. Welcome to Beyond the Horizon, the podcast that takes you where the journey truly begins. A production of AmaWaterways.
I want you to picture something for me.
Okay, all right.
So close your eyes if you can. Unless you're behind the wheel, obviously.
Right, please keep your eyes open if you're driving.
Yeah, safety first. But imagine a 13th century Parisian guild.
Okay, like Middle Ages?
Exactly. We're talking the year 1248, right in the thick of it. The air in the city is, dense with wood smoke.
Oh, I can picture it.
The cobblestone streets are slick, and there's this very exclusive, incredibly secretive group of royal cooks.
A secret society of cooks?
Basically, yeah. The Guild of Goose Roasters. And they are meticulously perfecting the art of preparing meat for the French court.
Wow, okay.
It's a world that is entirely defined by unbending culinary tradition, centuries of rigidity, and just a fierce protection of European standards.
I mean, it's essentially the cradle of modern gastronomy.
Yes, exactly.
You're looking at a time and place where the rules of fine dining were literally being written in stone and confined to a very specific, localized geography.
Right, so keep that incredibly specific image in your head for a second.
Okay, got it.
Now, I want you to fast forward almost 8 centuries.
That's a big jump.
It is. The year is 2026. You are floating down the Magdalena River, deep in the lush, vibrating heart of the Colombian jungle.
Oh, wow. Totally different vibe.
Complete 180. You can hear howler monkeys in the canopy, the humidity is thick, but you are sitting on the deck of a state-of-the-art luxury ship.
Nice.
With a perfectly chilled glass of wine in your hand.
Okay, I like where this is going.
Right. So the big question is, what could a medieval Parisian guild of goose roasters possibly have in common with a modern luxury ship navigating a South American jungle?
Honestly, on the surface, absolutely nothing.
It sounds like a joke setup.
It really does.
Yeah.
You've got an ancient, stationary, rigid European society on one hand.
Yeah.
And then a highly mobile, modern vessel operating thousands of miles away on the other. It feels like we're pulling 2 random cards out of a deck.
It totally does. But the answer to that riddle is actually the name of a company that has spent the last 2 decades quietly and completely rewiring the concept of luxury travel.
Which is pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
It really is. So welcome to the Deep Dive. I'm your host, and as always, I'm joined by our resident expert.
Hey!
My absolute go-to source for connecting the dots that most people don't even see.
Well, I try my best.
You always deliver. Today, we're taking you on an extensive journey into the mechanics, the deeply hidden history, and the rapidly accelerating future of premium river cruising.
And, when you drop the phrase river cruising at a dinner party, people instantly have a very specific image pop into their heads.
Oh, for sure. The sleepy boat trip.
Exactly. They usually picture a somewhat passive, slightly dated vacation, maybe a bunch of retirees on a bus tour that just happens to float.
Right, the floating bus tour.
But the underlying reality of what is being engineered in this industry right now is incredibly dynamic. It's a logistical marvel that most passengers never fully grasp.
Which is exactly why we're spending time today pulling apart this phenomenal, incredibly detailed 2026 guide.
It's a great piece of research.
It really is. It's written by Yvon Jr. Blanchette. He's a travel advisor and a cruise specialist at AmaWaterways.
Very knowledgeable guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he put together this massive breakdown focusing specifically on the industry's most awarded line, which is AmaWaterways.
And reading through Yvon's research, you quickly realize this isn't just like a shiny travel brochure.
No, not at all.
It's a masterclass in how a business operates within some of the strictest physical boundaries on the planet.
Yes.
How they calculate their specific brand of luxury and who this highly curated style of travel is actually engineered for.
Right. So, to lay a little groundwork before we get into the heavy machinery and the culinary history.
Always good to set the stage.
Exactly. AmaWaterways is, as of right now in 2026, the largest dedicated luxury river cruise company by fleet size.
Which is a huge accomplishment.
Huge. They are currently operating 31 ships across multiple continents.
But the sheer number of ships isn't what makes them a compelling subject for our analysis today.
No, it's what they're doing next.
Right. It's their current trajectory. They are in the middle of an aggressive, almost unprecedented expansion phase.
Yeah.
And it's an expansion that is genuinely challenging the fundamentals of their own business model.
So today we're going to explore exactly how they design these floating hotels around geographical constraints.
Yeah.
That would, honestly, make most architects tear their hair out.
Oh, the physical limitations are wild. We'll definitely get into that.
We'll also dissect what they actually mean when they use the phrase highly inclusive.
Because that wording is a very deliberate financial calculation.
Very deliberate. And we're going to look closely at who is actually boarding these ships today. Because if you think it's just the traditional retirement crowd,
the data in this guide is going to seriously surprise you.
It really is.
But, you can't really understand how they're putting luxury ships on the Mekong or the Nile today without first understanding the architectural and commercial foundation they poured back in the early 2000s.
Right. The origin story.
Yeah. The corporate DNA of this company is highly unusual for the travel sector.
So let's wind the clock back to 2002.
Okay, let's do it.
We are in Calabasas, California.
Which is funny, right?
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
If you know anything about geography, that is about as far away from a navigable European river as you could possibly get.
Total opposite side of the world?
Yeah. And they actually started under the name AmaWaterways before pivoting to the AmaWaterways rebrand in 2008.
Ah, all right.
The entire operation was founded by a trio of pioneers. And their individual backgrounds are kind of the key to this whole story.
The alchemy of that founding trio is exactly what built the moat around the business.
So who are we talking about here?
Well, first you have Rudi Schreiner,
Okay.
born in Austria, and he's known throughout the industry simply as the river expert.
Just the river expert. I love that.
Right. He's a guy who practically has the currents of the Danube running through his veins. He spent his early career mastering the granular, technical operations of European rivers.
So he knows the actual water.
Exactly. He understands the hydrodynamics, the bridge clearances, the lock schedules, all the heavy operational stuff.
Okay, so that's the first piece.
Then you add Kristen Karsten to the mix.
Right.
She's a German-born executive who brought a completely different skill set. She understood the nuance of European hospitality.
The service side.
Yes, the service expectations of the high-end luxury traveler and all those thousands of tiny touch points that make a hotel feel like a premium experience rather than just, a place to sleep.
It's so important.
Yeah.
And then there's the third founder.
The crucial third piece of the puzzle, yeah. The late Jimmy Murphy.
Oh, Jimmy Murphy.
He was an Irish-American travel industry veteran, and Yvonne's guide specifically refers to him as the company's commercial architect.
Commercial architect. What does that mean in this context?
Well, Schreiner and Karst had the European operational knowledge, right?
Right. They knew the rivers and the service.
Exactly. They knew how to navigate the physical rivers and how to treat the guests. But Jimmy Murphy understood the American consumer.
Ah, the market.
Yes. He understood the complex behind-the-scenes travel agency networks that actually sell these trips.
Which is huge. You can't just build a boat and hope people show up.
Right. He knew how to build a commission structure and a commercial strategy that could actually scale a niche European product out of an office in California.
And the company doesn't just treat Jimmy Murphy as a footnote in some corporate history PDF either.
No, not at all.
On their massive flagship, the AmaMagna, which we are definitely going to tear into a bit later, there's an actual physical venue called Jimmy's Wine Bar.
It's a great spot.
It is. It's this beautiful family-style dining space named in his honor after he passed away in 2019.
It really stands as a tangible reminder of the commercial architect who helped draw the original blueprints for the brand.
But the house that those three built is currently undergoing a massive multi-billion-dollar renovation.
Oh, yeah. The landscape is shifting dramatically right now.
Because as we sit here in 2026, the company is navigating the most significant corporate transition in its entire history.
It's a complete changing of the guard.
Over the last couple of years, Rudi Schreiner has stepped back from the day-to-day to become the chairman of the board.
Right.
Kristen Karst has taken on the role of global brand ambassador.
And then the big news.
The huge news. In July 2025, they handed the steering wheel over to a new CEO named Catherine Powell.
Her resume is what makes this transition so incredibly fascinating.
Tell me about it.
Catherine Powell is not a lifer in the cruise industry. She's a former high-level executive at Disney and Airbnb.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
They're bringing an Airbnb tech executive to run a Heritage River cruise line.
I know, it sounds crazy.
That feels like putting a Silicon Valley software CEO in charge of a traditional Swiss watch brand.
Totally does.
The cultures, the approach to scale, the core philosophies just seem fundamentally at odds with each other. How does that make any sense for a company built on hyperlocal European tradition?
Well, it sounds completely contradictory until you look at what a private equity firm actually wants.
Follow the money.
Always, because you don't bring in a Disney and Airbnb executive to simply maintain the status quo.
Right.
You bring them in to build a global platform. Think about what Disney does better than anyone else on the planet.
Theme parks, family stuff.
Yes, they engineer highly immersive, multi-generational family experiences at a massive scale.
Okay, that makes sense.
Now think about Airbnb. They built a global empire by figuring out how to mass distribute localized, authentic feeling travel experiences.
Wow, okay. I see it now.
When you combine those two skill sets, you get a CEO who is perfectly weaponized to take a boutique river cruise line and turn it into a global behemoth.
Especially when you hand that CEO an absolute mountain of cash.
And we're talking a literal mountain.
In March 2024, L. Catterton acquired a major stake in AmaWaterways. For context, L. Catterton is a massive multinational private equity firm with over $33 billion in assets under management.
$33 billion.
$33 billion. That is not let's update the dining room chairs money.
No.
That is let's conquer the globe money.
That capital injection is the rocket fuel for the expansion Yvonne details in his guide.
So what are the actual numbers?
Well, they are operating 31 ships right now, but they've publicly committed to pushing the fleet past 50 ships by 2032.
50 ships?
Yeah. And to give you an idea of the pace, in September 2025 alone, they ordered 8 new riverboats for European delivery.
Just ordered 8 at once.
Growing from 71 to over 50 ships in essentially 6 years is a staggering acceleration, especially for a company that took over 2 decades just to reach 31.
So the writing is on the wall.
Yeah.
They're aggressively moving away from the old stereotype of the sleepy vacation for retirees.
Definitely.
They're building a massive, experiential, globally scaled platform.
But here's the thing. You can have all the Airbnb vision and private equity billions in the world, and it won't change the laws of physics.
Right. The physical reality of the rivers.
Exactly. When you are building ships for European waterways, you are immediately slamming into immovable, centuries-old constraints.
Let's talk about those physical constraints, because the engineering required to pull this off is mind-bending.
It really is.
If Royal Caribbean or Carnival wants to add an indoor ice rink or a roller coaster to an ocean liner, they just design the hull to be a little wider and a little taller.
Because the ocean doesn't care.
Right. The ocean is infinitely wide.
But river cruising is the exact opposite. Yvonne's guide lays out the European blueprint, and it is a masterclass in spatial efficiency.
It has to be.
If you are constructing a ship for the core European program, so navigating the Rhine, the Main, the Moselle, or the Seine, you are working inside an incredibly unforgiving, invisible box.
So what does that box actually look like?
Take a ship like the new Ama Sophia, which is joining the fleet in 2026. It is capped at exactly 135 meters long.
Not 136.
Not 136, not 135.5, exactly 135. And it carries between 150 to 164 guests across 4 decks. You simply cannot build up and you cannot build out.
Because the locks are the boss.
Precisely. The locks are the boss. These rivers aren't just scenic backdrops. They are vital commercial arteries that have been engineered and manipulated by humans for centuries.
Right.
Because rivers naturally change elevation, ships have to pass through complex lock systems. Think of a lock as a giant concrete water elevator.
Okay, I like that visual.
You drive the ship into a concrete chamber, massive steel doors close behind you, and millions of gallons of water are either pumped in or drained out to raise or lower the ship to the next section of the river.
And those locks were poured decades, sometimes centuries ago.
Exactly. They have rigid, unchangeable dimensions.
So the ship has to fit inside that concrete bathtub with literally inches of clearance on either side.
Inches. It is terrifyingly tight.
And it's not just the locks, right? You also have historic stone bridges dating back to the medieval era.
Oh, the bridges are a nightmare for designers.
If your ship is a foot too tall, you're going to shear the top deck off when you try to pass under a bridge in Germany.
That reality turns the design of these vessels into a brutal zero-sum game. Every single square inch of space on a European river cruise ship has to be fought for.
So you can't just add things willy-nilly.
No way. If the architects want to make the main dining room larger, they have to steal that square footage from the lounge.
Wow.
If they want to add a fitness center, they have to completely eliminate a passenger cabin. You are trying to design a 5-star luxury hotel inside a perfectly sealed, unchangeable cylinder.
Which makes their big innovation in 2012 so fascinating.
Oh, the twin balcony.
Yes. Reading about the twin balcony stateroom that debuted on the AmaCerto, it feels less like an architectural choice and more like a brilliant magic trick.
It fundamentally shifted how the industry thought about spatial engineering.
Break it down for me.
To appreciate what they did, you have to look at the evolution of river cabins. Originally, you just had a small, fixed window.
Like a porthole kind of thing.
Basically, yeah.
Huh.
But eventually, cruise lines started wanting to offer the step-out balconies that ocean cruisers love.
Because people want fresh air.
Sure. But remember the zero-sum game. You can't push a balcony outward beyond the hull of the ship, or you'd scrape the walls of the lock.
Right, if the ship is already taking up 100% of the allowed width, the balcony can't hang off the side.
So the only way to build a step-out balcony is to push it inward.
Oh, I see.
You have to carve that outdoor space directly out of the interior square footage of the bedroom, and that is a massive sacrifice.
Because the rooms are already pretty tight.
Exactly. And a step-out balcony is fantastic on a sunny afternoon in July. But if it's pouring rain or if you're cruising through the Rhine Gorge in late November, that outdoor space becomes entirely unusable.
So you just have a smaller bedroom for no reason.
Right. You've sacrificed precious interior space for an amenity you can't even enjoy.
The twin balcony was their elegant solution to this.
It was so smart.
They managed to engineer 2 distinct balconies into the footprint of a single standard cabin.
Yeah, how did they do it?
So on one side, you have a traditional step-out balcony. It has 2 chairs, a small table, and its own exterior door.
Okay, your classic spot for a warm afternoon.
Exactly. But directly adjacent to it, inside the same room, is a French balcony.
And if you haven't been on a modern river ship, the term French balcony can be a bit misleading.
Totally. It sounds like something you'd see in Paris with wrought iron.
Right, but it's not a balcony you step out onto. It's essentially a massive wall of floor-to-ceiling glass doors that slide completely open.
But instead of an exterior deck, there is a generously upholstered seating area like a bench or a small sofa positioned directly against the glass inside the room.
It's such a brilliant workaround for the weather problem.
It really is. Because if you've ever stood on a step-out balcony on a moving ship on a chilly day, you can feel like you're trapped in a wind tunnel.
Oh, definitely. You're holding onto your jacket, your hair's whipping around in your face.
It's not luxurious at all.
Yeah.
The French balcony completely eliminates that friction. You slide the glass open, and your cozy interior living room instantly transforms into a panoramic outdoor terrace.
But because you are technically still inside the perimeter of the room, you aren't fighting the wind.
Exactly. And you aren't dramatically dropping the ambient temperature of your bedroom. You can sit there in a bathrobe in November with a hot coffee, feeling completely connected to the river, but totally protected from the elements.
It's all about maximizing the psychological perception of space. By offering both options in one stateroom, the guest never feels boxed in.
Yeah, the river remains the focal point regardless of the season or the weather outside.
Yvonne's guide points out the massive industry ripple effect this had too.
Oh, I bet everyone tried to copy it.
They did. Since 2012, almost every major competitor has tried to copy or iterate on this design. But AmaWaterways originated it, and their execution is still considered the benchmark.
They really dialed in the details.
They focus heavily on the ergonomics. The French balcony bench is deeply upholstered, the glass is truly panoramic, and the beds are often positioned to face the water rather than a blank interior wall.
It highlights Rudy Schreiner's operational obsession. They engineered a way to provide guests with the ultimate luxury, the luxury of choice, inside an environment that is mathematically designed to restrict choice.
That's exactly it. That's how you build a masterpiece when you agree to play by the rules of the locks.
But what happens if you look at that 135-meter-long, incredibly narrow box and decide you're just done playing by those rules? What if you want to build something genuinely massive?
Then you build a rule breaker. You build the AmaMagna.
Let's talk about the AmaMagna. In 2019, they launched this ship, and it completely throws the standard European river ship blueprint in the trash.
It really does. It's wild.
It's 22 meters wide.
Which is huge.
That is exactly twice the width of a traditional vessel. And they also have a sister ship, the Amaruti, arriving in 2027 with the exact same dimensions.
Calling it a behemoth in the context of river cruising almost feels like an understatement.
I mean, double the width.
Yeah, when you double the beam, the width of a vessel, you aren't just adding a little extra room in the hallways, you are exponentially increasing the interior volume of the ship.
Right.
The zero-sum game of space suddenly vanishes. You have actual breathing room.
But there is a massive glaring catch here.
Oh, a huge one.
Because it is 22 meters wide, the AmaMagna cannot fit through the locks on the Rhine.
No.
Cannot sail the Moselle, it cannot sail the Seine. It is physically trapped.
It is entirely confined to the Danube.
The Danube is the only one.
Yep, the Danube is the only major European river with a lock system massive enough to accommodate a ship of that specific beam.
And I have to stop and question the business logic here.
Sure, it seems risky.
By building this incredible, expensive, massive piece of hardware that can only ever sail on one single river, aren't they putting a terrifying limitation on their operational flexibility?
You would think so.
Because if there's a historic drought and water levels on the Danube drop too low for the AmaMagna to sail safely, they can't just divert it to the Rhine. It's stuck. Why take that level of risk?
It is a calculated risk, for sure. And the logic only becomes clear when you look at exactly who they built this ship to attract.
Okay, who's it for?
The AmaMagna is not aimed at the traditional river cruiser who is perfectly happy on a standard 135-meter vessel. It is engineered specifically as a lure to capture the ocean cruiser.
The people who love massive ships and are terrified of feeling claustrophobic on a river.
Exactly. There is a massive, highly lucrative segment of the travel market that is fiercely loyal to ultra-luxury ocean liners.
Like Regent Seven Seas or Seabourn?
Exactly. Brands like that, Silver Sea 2, those passengers are accustomed to sweeping grand staircases, huge suites, and having half a dozen dining venues to choose from.
So when a travel agent tries to sell them a river cruise,
the customer looks at the narrow dimensions of a standard river ship and immediately feels confined. They're like, where do I go? The AmaMagna is designed to break down that psychological barrier.
So it's essentially a gateway drug for the ocean cruiser to finally try a river.
That's the entire strategy. And the most shocking statistic in Yvonne's guide is the passenger-to-space ratio on this thing.
Tell me.
A standard European river ship carries around 150 to 164 guests. The AmaMagna is twice the physical width, representing a massive increase in square footage, right?
Right.
But it only carries 196 guests.
Wait, really? Double the size, but they only added about 30 or 40 extra passengers.
Yes. They completely resisted the urge to pack in double the cabins.
That's amazing.
Instead, they took all that extra width and used it to double the personal space for the guests. The standard suite categories on the AmaMagna start at 355 square feet and scale all the way up to grand suites that are a staggering 710 square feet.
710 square feet on a riverboat.
I know.
I've lived in apartments smaller than that.
Seriously, those grand suites are essentially luxury apartments. They feature separate living rooms, double sink vanities, walk-in showers, and full-size bathtubs.
Full-size bathtubs on a river.
It is the largest standard stateroom accommodation you will find on any European river.
And the sheer volume of amenities they packed into the rest of the ship is wild, because they have double the width. They basically took everything you'd expect to find on a luxury ocean liner and meticulously shrink it down for the Danube.
Yeah, the public spaces are incredible.
Instead of the standard 2 dining venues, they offer 4 distinct restaurants.
Wow.
They built a massive Zen wellness studio with a dedicated area for group fitness classes. They have 2 separate massage rooms, a full beauty salon, a sky bar, a heated pool, and a jacuzzi on the sun deck.
They even managed to fit a full-size pickleball court on the roof.
A pickleball court floating down the Danube.
It's ridiculous in the best way.
They have outdoor spin bikes, a small cinema. But the piece of engineering that truly stops you in your tracks is the aft marina platform.
Oh, this is so cool.
Even notes this is an absolute first for river cruising. At the back of the ship, there's a specialized platform that deploys kayaks and Zodiacs.
And for anyone unfamiliar, Zodiacs are those heavy-duty, rigid, inflatable boats, often used in polar expeditions.
Right. You can literally walk to the back of your luxury hotel, climb into a kayak, and launch directly into the river while you're docked in a scenic Austrian village.
It completely shatters the paradigm of what a river cruise can physically offer. Yes, they sacrifice the ability to move the ship to other rivers, but the Danube is arguably the most commercially lucrative river cruise destination on the planet.
It's extremely popular.
By offering an uncompromised ocean-level luxury experience on that specific waterway, they capture a highly profitable demographic that their competitors simply don't have the hardware to accommodate.
The luxury of space clearly defines the AmaMagna. But in the world of high-end travel, the luxury of space always goes hand in hand with the luxury of dining.
Oh, absolutely.
Which circles us perfectly back to our opening hook.
The 13th century Parisian Guild of Goose Roasters.
Yes, the year 1248. The Guild of Goose Roasters eventually evolved into an organization known as La Chaîne des Rôtisseurs.
It sounds so fancy.
It is. Today, it stands as the oldest and arguably the most prestigious gastronomic society in the world.
It's like the Illuminati of the culinary world.
Pretty much. It is a highly exclusive global network connecting Michelin-starred chefs, legendary palace hotels, and elite culinary minds. And here is the truly surprising detail.
Okay.
In 2011, AmaWaterways was formally invited to join. They were the very first river cruise line to ever receive this honor.
That's a huge deal.
And as we sit here in 2026, they are still the only river cruise line that holds this membership.
It's an incredible badge of honor for their marketing team, obviously. But the deeper, far more interesting question is how that medieval French membership actually translates into the daily operational reality of a modern ship sailing through Germany or Hungary.
Right. How does it work in practice?
Because it has to be more than just a shiny plaque hanging next to the reception desk.
Exactly. How much power does a 13th century society actually wield over a modern commercial kitchen on a boat?
Well, it actually dictates their entire culinary philosophy. When you accept membership into La Chaîne des Rôtisseurs, you are agreeing to be held to an incredibly rigorous, globally monitored standard.
So it's not just symbolic.
No, it fundamentally changes how you source your food. You are required to prioritize deep regional sourcing.
Okay.
Your menus cannot be static across the season. They must continuously rotate and adapt to reflect the specific, localized ingredients of the riverbanks the ship is currently sailing past.
That sounds complicated.
It is. If you are navigating the Washoe Valley in Austria, the menu that evening, and more importantly, the wine pairings, must directly reflect the agricultural output of that specific micro-region.
To execute that level of localized sourcing across 31 ships requires serious talent.
It's a massive logistical undertaking.
Yvonne's guide highlights their European culinary director, Primus Perchtold.
Oh yeah, he's a legend.
This isn't a guy just managing a corporate buffet. He holds 3 gold medals from the European Championship of Culinary Art. He's directing a massive, high-stakes culinary operation that spans the continent.
And the most tangible, highly anticipated manifestation of this membership for the passengers is the annual gala dinner.
Oh, I bet that's incredible.
On every European sailing, they host a dedicated La Chaîne des Rôtisseurs dinner. It is an elaborate, multi-course menu prepared strictly to the society's exacting standards, paired with highly specific, hard-to-find regional wines.
It is treated as a major culinary event.
Absolutely.
But the focus on high-end gastronomy isn't just limited to one fancy gala night per cruise.
No, it's an everyday thing.
Right. It is deeply embedded in their signature specialty restaurant, which is known simply as the Chef's Table. And this venue is available on every single ship across the entire fleet.
The mechanics of the Chef's Table are brilliant. It's designed to be an incredibly intimate venue, usually seating only about 24 guests per evening.
Very exclusive.
It features a fully open kitchen, so the culinary process becomes part of the entertainment. You are literally watching the chef's plate every single dish.
That's such a great touch.
They serve an intricate, multi-course tasting menu paired with regional wines, and the most crucial operational detail.
Yes?
It is completely included in the base fare.
Really?
Yes. There is no upcharge or hidden fee to eat there. You simply have to be proactive enough to make a reservation when you board.
And they're actively tweaking the concept too. The guide mentions the 2026 Fleet Refresh program, which actually introduces Italian luncheon menus to the chef's table on select ships.
Oh, that's a smart use of the space.
Yeah, so they're taking this highly stylized, intimate space and utilizing it during the day to offer even more variety.
Now, if we take that culinary philosophy and scale it back up to the massive footprint of the AmaMagna, the dining options expand proportionally.
Right, because the AmaMagna gives them the space to play. You have the main restaurant, which handles your standard open seating breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You have the chef's table, but the double width allows for the alfresco restaurant, which features these brilliant retractable windows and an outdoor terrace for a lighter, breezier dining experience.
Oh, I love that one.
And then, of course, you have Jimmy's Wine Bar, which offers a much more casual, lively, family-style dining environment throughout the day.
Which is great for groups.
Definitely. And again, just to underscore this, all 4 of these distinct venues are available to every single guest on the AmaMagna at absolutely no extra charge.
It is a remarkably comprehensive, resource-heavy culinary program.
It really is.
But there is a physiological reality to travel. If you are indulging in 7-course tasting menus, Italian luncheons, and daily regional wine pairings, your body naturally demands a counterbalance.
Oh, you have to move eventually.
Right. You cannot simply eat and drink your way down the length of the Rhine for 10 days without eventually feeling a desperate need to get your heart rate up.
Which opens up a completely different side of the operation. Historically, river cruising had a very specific and, let's be honest, fairly sedentary reputation.
Yeah, the old industry stereotype was the bus tour on water.
Right.
The rhythm was entirely passive. You wake up early, you shuffle off the ship, you board a massive coach bus, you get driven to a historic cathedral.
You slowly follow a local guide holding a numbered lollipop.
Exactly. Then you get back on the bus, you eat a heavy dinner, and you go to sleep. It was highly rigid and required very little physical exertion.
AmaWaterways seems to have completely detonated that stereotype.
We blew it up.
They've instituted a highly structured 3-tier excursion system that is fully included in the standard fare.
And this is key.
At almost every single port, you aren't just handed a ticket to one generic tour, you are explicitly asked to choose your pace.
They organize the excursions into gentle walkers, active walkers, and the late starters.
The Gentle Walkers tier is exactly what it sounds like. It's designed for guests who want to take it easy. Minimal walking, relaxed pace, lots of stops.
Perfect for people with mobility considerations.
Or anyone who just wants to leisurely stroll through a town without breaking a sweat. Then you have the Active Walkers, which is your standard, brisk, let's cover a lot of ground guided walking tour.
But the true stroke of operational genius is the 3rd tier.
The Late Starters.
Yes.
Reading through this section of the guide, I felt profoundly understood. I look at the Late Starters option as the ultimate unsung luxury of this entire brand.
I completely agree.
It is literally the luxury of sleeping in.
Think about the psychological friction of a standard vacation. You are paying thousands of dollars to relax, right?
Right.
But you feel this intense underlying obligation to be standing on a cold concrete dock at 8 a.m. every single morning because you don't want to miss the included historical tour.
It creates vacation anxiety.
Exactly.
You're supposed to be relaxing, but you're setting an alarm for 6:30 a.m. and rushing through breakfast. The Late Starters group departs significantly later in the morning. It completely neutralizes the fear of missing out.
It's so freeing.
You could wake up naturally, have a slow, leisurely breakfast, enjoy a cup of coffee on your French balcony, and still join a guided group later in the morning to see the primary sights of the destination. It is a brilliant understanding of human psychology.
And that commitment to flexibility extends far beyond just walking speeds. The active and wellness components of their daily program are arguably the most robust of any line in the industry.
Oh, for sure. Every single ship carries a full fleet of complimentary bicycles.
Which is awesome.
When you dock in a port, you can just walk off the ship, grab a bike, and go explore the countryside completely independently. But they also offer organized guided cycling excursions and guided hikes, again, at no extra charge.
And to manage all of this physical activity, every European ship is staffed with a dedicated wellness host.
Which was a fascinating operational shift.
Yeah, they piloted the wellness host program back in 2017, and it was so successful they expanded it fleet-wide.
So it's not just some random crew member?
No, the wellness host isn't just a crew member handing out towels in a gym. They are certified professional fitness instructors.
Oh, wow.
They lead daily classes on the sun deck, everything from sunrise yoga and stretching to meditation and high-intensity cardiovascular workouts.
That's intense.
And they actually physically accompany the guests on the active hikes and the intensive cycling tours to ensure safety and pacing.
If we zoom out and look at this highly active, highly flexible pacing structure, it tells us exactly who they are aggressively targeting.
It points directly to a massive, deliberate generational shift.
Totally.
By offering these radically varied paces, from a gentle walker's stroll to a hardcore 20-mile bike ride through a vineyard, they have engineered a product that can seamlessly accommodate multi-generational families traveling together.
It solves the classic family vacation dilemma.
It really does.
Grandpa can comfortably do the gentle walker's tour of the local cathedral. The parents can take an intensive guided bike ride through the countryside. The teenagers can sleep in until 10 a.m. and join the late starters.
Sounds like a dream.
And then the entire family reconvenes back on the ship in the evening for dinner at Jimmy's Wine Bar. Nobody feels compromised.
And the company has structurally leaned into this family dynamic with their hardware, too.
How so?
Look at the Ama Christina, which sails the Rhone in France. They specifically designed that ship with connecting cabins and triple occupancy rooms. Those aren't features you build if you're only targeting retired couples. Those are features explicitly engineered to house multi-generational groups.
And the ultimate, undeniable proof of this family-focused strategy is their ongoing partnership with Adventures by Disney. This collaboration started back in 2015.
And to be clear, as Yvonne's guide explicitly points out, these are not regular AmaWaterways sailings where someone just casually shows up in a Mickey Mouse suit for a photo op.
No, far from it.
Okay.
These are fully chartered, dedicated departures.
Right.
Adventures by Disney essentially rents out the entire physical ship. They operate using Disney's premium pricing model, Disney's booking terms, and they bring their own highly trained Disney storytellers and onboard entertainment.
It's a full takeover.
They run these massive, completely family-focused itineraries on the Danube and the Rhine, which are wildly popular around the winter Christmas markets.
The significance of that partnership cannot be overstated.
Disney is picky.
Disney is arguably the most fiercely protective brand in the world when it comes to family entertainment and quality control. The fact that Disney surveyed the entire global river cruise industry and chose AmaWaterways as their exclusive hardware partner speaks volumes about the quality of the ships, the precision of the service, and the extreme flexibility of the pacing.
It's the ultimate corporate endorsement. But this flexible, active approach isn't just changing who is traveling on these ships. It is fundamentally changing where they're willing to take them.
That's a great point.
Because once you prove you can deliver this exact level of seamless luxury and complex logistics on a familiar European river, your fiercely loyal returning guests are going to ask, okay, we've done the Rhine, we've done the Danube, where are you taking us next?
Which forces the company to look at the global map and start placing bets in incredibly complex environments.
The European rivers, the Rhine, the Chaîne, the Douro in Portugal, the Dordogne in France. These are the absolute bread and butter of the company.
Yeah, they account for about 23 of the 31 ships in the 2026 fleet.
But reading through the non-European fleet details in Yvonne's guide left me genuinely stunned. They are operating luxury vessels in environments that seem fundamentally hostile to five-star hospitality.
The logistical difficulty of operating outside of Europe is immense.
Where do we even start?
Let's start with their operations in Southeast Asia, specifically the Mekong River running through Vietnam and Cambodia.
They operate ships there like the Amadara, the Amakaya, and they have a brand new one arriving in 2027 called the AmaMagna.
And these vessels are totally different from the European blueprint.
Yeah, they carry only about 60 guests, and they feature all suite configurations.
Very intimate.
You are sailing the lower Mekong, visiting the ancient ruins of Angkor Wat, navigating floating villages, exploring Buddhist temples. It's a completely different sensory experience.
And a crucial detail on the Mekong, which matters heavily when we talk about their pricing model later, is that gratuities are fully included in the base fare, which is a departure from their European policy.
We will absolutely dig into the complexities of their pricing model in a minute. But from the humid jungles of Vietnam, let's pivot to Africa.
Oh, this one is amazing.
Specifically, the Chobe River in Botswana. This program blew my mind.
The Africa program is arguably the most intimate, unique, and logistically challenging offering in their entire global portfolio.
Intimate almost doesn't cover it. These ships hold a maximum of 28 guests.
28 people.
28 people. You are doing a 3-night Chobe River cruise, seamlessly combined with a luxury land-based safari. You are sailing deep through the Okavango watershed, looking at elephants, hippos, and crocodiles in their natural habitat.
Let's unpack why a 28-guest ship on the Chobe River completely shatters the fundamental paradigm of an African safari.
Okay, let's do it.
Usually, on a high-end safari, you are sitting in a dusky Jeep, driving for hours over incredibly rough, jarring terrain to go find the wildlife. It's hot, it's loud, you're smelling diesel exhaust.
You're enduring physical discomfort for the payoff of seeing the animals.
But on the Chobe, you are floating silently through their habitat.
Wow.
The wildlife naturally congregates at the water source. You are observing a herd of elephants bathing just a few yards away from the deck of a luxury ship, holding a glass of regional wine with zero physical discomfort.
That sounds unreal.
The draft of the vessel provides a vantage point and a level of silent access that a land-based vehicle simply cannot match.
It completely re-engineers the African safari experience. And the global expansion doesn't stop there.
No, they're everywhere.
They have built a massive footprint in Egypt, sailing the historic Nile River. They operate the Amadalia, the Amalia, and the brand new 2026 ship, the Amanubia.
Classic Reds.
Yeah, they sail the classic route between Luxor and Aswan, hitting the Valley of the Kings, the Temple of Karnak. Again, these are highly specialized, smaller ships, usually featuring about 36 to 38 staterooms to maintain that sense of intimacy.
And the Nile is a notoriously competitive, highly saturated, historic river cruise market. But the program that truly represents their pioneering, risk-taking spirit is currently operating in South America.
Colombia.
Yes.
The Magdalena River. This is genuinely groundbreaking. They launched the AmaMagdalena in 2024, followed quickly by the AmaMelodia in 2025.
Right?
They're navigating a complex route between Barranquilla and Cartagena. And according to the guide, AmaWaterways achieved something massive here. They are the very first international river cruise line to ever operate a program on Magdalena.
The logistical feat required to pull that off is staggering.
It has to be.
Operating a luxury ship in the heart of the Colombian jungle involves navigating an incredibly complex political and ecological environment. You cannot just call a local distributor and order 100 bottles of fine French wine.
No, you're in the jungle.
You have to build entirely new, heavily secured supply chains for high-end food, fuel, and parts from scratch.
That is a massive undertaking.
You have to recruit and train local Colombian crews to meet the exact, unyielding standards of a company that was inducted into La Chaîne de Rôtisseurs. It represents a massive, multi-million-dollar investment in a completely unproven, highly unpredictable market.
But the payoff for the guest is a totally unique itinerary. You are kayaking deep in the Colombian jungle, taking guided hikes to see exotic wildlife, and experiencing a deep, authentic immersion in Colombian culture and cuisine, all while sleeping in a 5-star suite.
But executing that level of seamless luxury, whether you are building a supply chain in the jungles of Colombia, navigating the intricate lock systems of the Rhine, or floating silently past a pod of hippos in Botswana, comes with a very specific, carefully calculated price tag.
Which brings us to the most practical and often the most confusing part of the deep dive, the financial reality. Let's talk about the money, and specifically, the terminology they use to separate you from it.
The cruise industry as a whole is notorious for highly opaque pricing structures.
It's the worst.
The base fare you see advertised on a billboard is rarely what you actually end up spending once you factor in taxes, port fees, excursions, and onboard charges.
Which is why I actually respect the honesty of the terminology AmaWaterways employs. They categorically do not call themselves all-inclusive.
Right. Use a different phrase.
They explicitly and consistently use the phrase highly inclusive. And understanding that specific distinction is critical when you are budgeting a trip of this magnitude.
So let's break down the calculus. What is actually included when you pay that base fare?
It's a very robust list. Every single meal is included. That multi-course tasting experience at the chef's table specialty restaurant is completely included.
Nice.
Your high-speed Wi-Fi, your daily shore excursions, whether you choose the gentle walkers or the active bike ride, the use of the bicycles, the fitness classes with the wellness host, it's all covered.
That's a lot of value.
And at meal times, specifically lunch and dinner, you get unlimited high-quality regional wines, beer, and soft drinks. They also host what they call the Sip and Sail cocktail hour every single evening right before dinner, which features a full menu of complimentary wines, beers, premium spirits, and cocktails.
That covers the highly part of the equation. Now, what is the not inclusive part? When are you actually pulling out a room card and signing a bill?
This is where you have to pay attention to your habits. Premium optional excursions, meaning highly specialized, perhaps private or extremely resource-intensive experiences, are extra.
Makes sense.
Any spa treatments or massages are extra, though simply using the fitness facility is free. Gratuities are a big one. They are not included on the core European and Colombian sailings. The company expects you to tip the crew roughly 12 to 15 euros per guest per day.
Which adds up.
It does. But the biggest carve-out, the line item that truly defines their financial model, is alcohol.
The drinks.
Outside of meal times and that 1 hour sip and sail cocktail hour, you are paying out of pocket for your drinks. If you want a gin and tonic at 3 p.m. while you are lounging on the sun deck, you are signing a tab for it.
And that specific policy regarding alcohol is where AmaWaterways diverges most sharply from some of their top-tier, ultra-luxury competitors.
Let's examine the psychology of that for a second. If I am paying thousands and thousands of dollars for a premium, highly anticipated luxury river cruise, and a direct competitor, like Scenic, is offering a fully open bar 24 hours a day plus a butler in every room, doesn't charging me 15 euros for a mid-afternoon cocktail create a massive psychological friction point?
It definitely can.
It momentarily breaks the illusion of unlimited luxury. Doesn't that risk alienating the high-end traveler?
It definitely creates a momentary friction point, but it is a mathematically calculated risk based on human behavior.
How so?
Yvonne's guide breaks down the competitor matrix brilliantly to explain this. Let's look closely at Scenic, since they're the most direct contrast.
Scenic is essentially the fully all-inclusive, no questions asked alternative.
Precisely. Scenic includes unlimited premium spirits all day long. They include a fully stocked complimentary minibar in every single cabin that is replenished daily. They include dedicated butler service for every guest.
That sounds amazing.
It is, but here is the brutal calculus of the cruise industry. According to Yvonne's analysis, a Scenic cruise costs approximately $500 to $1,000 more per person on a comparable European itinerary.
So the open bar isn't free, it's just front-loaded into the ticket price.
Exactly. You have to sit down and ask yourself a very honest question about your consumption habits. Are you actually going to drink $1,000 worth of 3.0 p.m. cocktails over the course of a 7-day cruise?
Probably not.
If you are a moderate drinker who is perfectly happy enjoying complimentary wine at lunch, wine at dinner, and a couple of free cocktails during the evening sip and sail hour, paying Scenic's premium means you are literally subsidizing the open bar for the heavy drinkers on the ship.
You are paying for the alcohol whether you consume it or not.
AmaWaterways' highly inclusive model deliberately strips the cost of a $247 open bar out of the base fare. It keeps the initial entry price slightly lower, and it forces you to only pay for the extra alcohol you individually choose to consume. It's a more equitable financial model for the moderate consumer.
That makes total mathematical sense.
Yeah.
How does this model stack up against the rest of the industry landscape?
Yeah.
What about Viking? Because Viking is the 800-pound gorilla in the room. Even people who have never been on a cruise know the name Viking from their television sponsorships.
Viking has built the largest river fleet in the world and undoubtedly possesses the most recognizable brand name in North America.
Yeah.
They operate on a very similar bundled fare structure, but the key differentiators are the onboard vibe and the target demographics. Viking is strictly adults only. They do not allow anyone under the age of 18 on board.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The ships feature a very specific, slightly more formal, minimalist Scandinavian aesthetic. It is a fantastic product, but it fundamentally does not possess the energetic, multi-generational, flexible pacing dynamic that AmaWaterways has cultivated.
What about Avalon Waterways?
Avalon is a really strong comparison. They generally sit at a slightly lower price point. Their defining architectural feature is the open-air balcony, which is essentially a massive panoramic window that slides open 7 feet wide.
That sounds nice.
It is a fantastic airy design, but it is not the true dual-space twin balcony that AmaWaterways engineers. Avalon is highly active, but they lack the elite, recognized culinary prestige of the La Chaîne de Rôtisseurs membership.
Then you have Emerald Cruises, which operates as Scenic's sister brand. They offer a lower price point, a highly active, younger vibe, but again, without the same level of culinary prestige or specialized hardware like the AmaMagna. And finally, on the extreme opposite end of the spectrum, you have a niche company like Aqua Expeditions.
Aqua operates in a totally different stratosphere. They run ultra-luxury, highly specialized ships carrying only 16 to 40 guests on remote, challenging rivers like the Peruvian Amazon and the Mekong.
Wow, 16 guests.
They boast an incredible 1-to-1 crew-to-guest ratio, but they do not operate a core European program at all. It is highly concentrated, extremely expensive, expedition-level luxury.
Synthesizing all this comparative data, Yvonne provides a final, definitive verdict on exactly who AmaWaterways is built for. And based on everything we've unpacked today, it paints a very clear, highly targeted picture.
It does. It is absolutely not for the traveler who demands an aggressively open bar all day long without ever wanting to sign a tab.
Right.
And it is not for the hardcore adventurer looking for an extreme ice-breaking polar expedition.
But it is the absolute sweet spot for a very specific mindset. It's for the active traveler who actually wants to physically hike and bike their way through the European countryside rather than just passively looking at it through the tinted window of a coach bus. It's for the culinary enthusiast who genuinely cares about the nuances of regional wine pairings and the fact that a gold medal chef is designing their menu. It's for the family group that desperately needs the logistical flexibility of the gentle walkers, the active walkers, and the late starters, so that 3 generations can travel together without driving each other crazy.
That's a huge demographic.
And it's for the seasoned Europe aficionado who wants the broadest selection of European rivers, or the bold traveler who wants to pioneer the Magdalena River in Colombia while still having a phenomenal temperature-controlled bed to sleep in at night.
They've managed to construct a remarkably large, highly inclusive tent that appeals to multiple distinct demographics without ever watering down the core premium luxury of the daily experience.
What an incredible journey it has been to unpack all of this.
Yeah.
We started this hour trying to figure out how a medieval 13th century guild of Parisian goose roasters connected to a modern luxury ship navigating the jungles of Colombia.
And we found the connection.
We did. And what we uncovered was a company that has spent 2 decades meticulously engineering solutions to impossible physical constraints, elevating commercial culinary standards, and completely redefining the physical pace of what a river cruise can actually be.
They took a single ambitious vision in 2002, and through a rare combination of architectural ingenuity like the twin balcony and sharp commercial strategy, built a globally recognized fleet of 31 vessels by 2026.
It is a genuinely fascinating corporate story. But before we sign off, I know you were looking at the broader implications of their massive expansion plan, and you had a totally different angle on what this means for the future of the industry.
I did. We've spent a lot of time discussing the corporate side of this transition, L. Catterton's billions, Catherine Powell's Airbnb background, and the race to build 50 ships by 2032.
Right.
But reading through the source material, a totally different, much more existential question emerges. These are massive, resource-heavy floating hotels.
Oh, for sure.
Their entire appeal relies on the pristine nature of the rivers they sail. The untouched quiet of the Chobe in Botswana, the delicate historic charm of a tiny, centuries-old Austrian village on the Danube. As this company and the industry as a whole scales up so aggressively with private equity money, what is the tipping point for the rivers themselves?
That's a huge question.
We have to start thinking about the ecological carrying capacity of these increasingly fragile waterways. Furthermore, what happens to the patience of these small, hyper-local communities when they suddenly have thousands of luxury tourists cycling through their narrow cobblestone streets every single week?
Wow, yeah.
The greatest existential threat to the future of river cruising might not be a competitor's pricing model or a new balcony design. The real risk might be that by scaling to 50 or 60 ships, they inadvertently damage the exact pristine environments and intimate local communities that their guests are paying thousands of dollars to experience.
That is a phenomenal point. The tension between massive corporate scale and preserving the delicate local environments they rely on. I want you to keep that balance in mind the next time you are planning a major trip, wherever it may take you. Thank you so much for joining us for this extensive deep dive into the engineering, the history, and the future of global travel. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning the logistics behind the luxury, and we will see you on the next deep dive.
You've been listening to Beyond the Horizon, the podcast by Area Voyages. The full article for this episode is available at www.areavoyages.com. Remember to like, share the podcast, and leave a review to help promote our work. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. Until next time, safe travels.